Citizens, and welcome back to the first Invictus launch week starting soon. And I thought I would put out this video based on something that I see on Spectrum sometimes, but in-game chat all the times, which is people saying what you need to run this game. You need the newest computer CPU, you need the most RAM, you need at the very least, a 4090, if not something bigger, to run this game. And with anything less than that, it is absolutely unplayable. And you may be wondering yourself, will my computer run this game? And the answer is that usually the things people are telling you what you need and what you really need is not the case. However, this is not a video on how to get the game to run smoother. Doesn't matter what you have. You could have the top of the line everything right now, and you're not going to be getting 120 frames a second at 4K. It's just not going to happen because this game is not optimized. So therefore, it's not going to happen. I'm also not going to talk about the settings that you should do to get the game. There is a lot of stuff you can do. Deleting the temporary files in the shaders. Definitely setting your page file to a good size would do that. Setting the graphics levels higher in some cases will help it. And I'll kind of explain that when I'm talking about this, but this is just, will my computer run? And there's really kind of three ways you can look at this to see if it'll run. One of them is if you go to the RSI website here. And now that I'm talking, I realize I didn't really look to see where it is, but I'm looking for Telemetry. So go to support and telemetry here. And if you click on telemetry here, this will kind of go through and show you, looking at what kind of frame rates you're looking to get, as well as what people are running. So let's say you want to be somewhere in between here. So let's say you're looking at a system, this system here, running something like an Intel i7 9700K down to the i7, or up to the i7 10750H, or if you're looking at something like a 2070 Super up to the 2080. Average frame rates 36.3 frames per second. So you can click through here and kind of get a view of what people are running to get the different frame rates that they're averaging in the game. Average, I will point out, means spending all your time in a city and all your time around a large number of people, a large number of ships and things happening, versus someone who's spending a lot of their time, say, out in space doing salvaging in a halo without anyone else around. These numbers are definitely going to change based on that. But the telemetry is a really helpful thing to do. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing, and this is happening in a few days, is on a free fly. That is the best time to check to see if your game will run Star Citizen, or how it will run, is just by heading out onto the free fly, and from that, trying it out and seeing how it feels. But if your system, if you're wanting it will run, I'm going to talk about what I have, as well as what is necessary, guaranteed 100% to run this game. Now, this game is, like I said, not really currently, and not for probably years and years down the road, optimized at all. By that point, what you're running now isn't going to be a matter, because you're going to be upgrading probably by then. It's really heavy on CPU usage. CPU is really important for the game because it's just the bottleneck for your system. It's surprisingly not your GPU, it's your CPU. And that's why we're looking at here, the CPUs are more important than what GPU you're using. Like, look at, we got, for these frame rates, almost 30 a second, looking at a 1660 Ti, a 1660 Super. It's not the newest GPU out there, but the CPUs are what's doing the work. And that's why, if you have a good GPU, you can put some of the load off the CPU by upping the display, upping the fidelity of the clouds, or the draw distance and the detail there. Putting more load on your GPU may take some load off your CPU, which will allow it to run a bit better. So that's kind of important. The guaranteed absolute must that you need to run this game is an SSD. You cannot have a spinning platinum disk and expect to run Star Citizen. You need an SSD. So I'm going to kind of go through what I'm running. And this is why when people say you need like a 3080 or better to run this game is why they're absolutely wrong. However, there's going to be a bit of a caveat at the end, which is that after about 6 years, I am now going to update my PC. So I'm going to talk about that. First things first, with my system, I am running on an SSD. So I do have two SSDs in my computer. First one is the Samsung 970 EVO. That runs a lot of my stuff, but it's not where Star Citizen is installed. That's actually installed on a Crucial MX500, which is an M.2 drive. Having an SSD is probably one of the most important things you can do. It's what affects things like load times, as well as just prevents stuttering in the game, which I think is pretty important. You also need to have at least Windows 10, which I'm assuming most people do. I believe that is what is the minimum requirement. Now, there is somewhere where there is minimum requirements from CIG. I'm not sure at which page it's on, but I'll put a link to that in the description below. My CPU itself is relatively old. Like again, I said, it's been about 5 years since I've upgraded my system. Ryzen 7 3700, a relatively inexpensive CPU, and it's been running this game fine. And this is why I'm saying that you don't need top of the line, because I'm not only running Star Citizen when I'm playing the game, but I'm running OBS on the same system. I have 2 to 3 monitors running at the same time. I usually have a website open if I'm looking for information on there, or I'm keeping track of something on there. Plus, it's recording through OBS onto another hard drive. Plus, I'm playing the game, all running on one system. Now, what does make Star Citizen run well is the minimum requirement of 16 gigs of memory may be why you're not enjoying the game. 16 is not enough. It's what they say to run, but you're not going to enjoy it 16. I would say 32 would be the minimum. I actually, on my system, and why I'm able to do multiple things at one time, is probably on my RAM. 64 gigs of RAM. It is not the newest and fastest RAM out there. It's Corsair DDR4 3200. So it's not really super fast, but it's actually not bad. And any video that you've been watching up to this point, that's what I've been recording on. Ryzen 7 3700, 64 gigabytes of DDR 3200, and an SSD. Now, the video card that I've been using is NVIDIA 1080 Ti, which I have had since about the time that they came out. Before the prices really skyrocketed, I've been using a 1080 Ti. It is a workhorse, and it has been probably one of the best graphics cards that I've ever bought. The fact that even now I'm still playing the game, still able to run things like VR on it, it's awesome. And the reason why is because to get the game to run better, you have to decide, do I enjoy how it looks or do I enjoy how it runs? I have been using a El Cheapo because I can't afford anything better monitor from a company called AOC. I think I paid about $100 for it. It's running at 1920 by 1080. That's the resolution I run the game at. On top of that, like I said, I'm running the other monitors that I have on the sides, and the 1080 has been doing really well. However, I have decided to upgrade, and my one upgrade for probably the next couple of years, besides potentially getting more hard drive space, is I'm getting myself a new video card. I still haven't decided if it's going to be the 9070 XT or possibly a 5070 Ti. That's all going to depend on availability, on what's available, and really what I can afford. However, it's going to be interesting to see how that changes my frame rate. So I'm going to put out a video when I get it to kind of compare. But right now I'm going to compare what I found currently with the current patch, with the current load, what frame rates I'm going to be getting. So I'm going to go through that list here in a second. Well, that was interesting. Um, Why is that not showing up in OBS now? There we go. So, couple things. Like I said, to make Star Citizen run on your computer, a lot of times it depends on your hardware choices. Other times it depends on the user itself. And for me, I definitely made a mistake with OBS. So I flew around the verse and recorded a number of locations, a number of areas using. What's this one? Let's load this one. Perfect. I don't know what this one is, but we're gonna go with this one. Review, accept. So I recorded the. Skip this. I recorded the frame rates in another number of locations in space, at stations, going through the wormhole, in Pyro, in Stanton, and then realized I hit the wrong button and never recorded OBS. So I am not doing that again. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about some of the notes I jotted down for some of the frame rates, which actually weren't too bad. There were a couple areas where it was actually quite bad. Let's set our system at... Where do we want to set our system? I mean, Area 18 is always kind of a cool place for me. I do like Area 18. Lorville is more central. New Babbage I hardly ever use. Orson, I don't really want it. Now the problem with Area 18, if I set my spawn at Area 18, with Invictus coming up, if there's issues with it, I'm not going to be able to get out of there that easily. So I'm going to set it to Lorville, and we're going to play the game. So what happened is I tried to get some times, and I wasn't able to. And then when I just came in now at 10:30 p.m. on Tuesday to load into the game, it updated 4.1.1. So we're heading into the new verse. So I did record some audio about me talking about those different frame rates. So I'm going to play that now as I just kind of get set up. So I'm going to turn off my mic and just play that audio. What I'm going to do to get ready for this new patch is my same old, where I'm going to get kind of some of the paints on the ships that I have that I want. And then I'm going to head over to my favorite place, which is Paradise Cove. And I'm going to try and get some guns and ammo, and at the same time I'll then go loot some food. I also realized this might be the time that I should go to Area 18 and see if I can find any turtles. New servers, new turtles. Maybe that will be the case. So that's what I'm going to do. First things first, Area 18, check for turtles, and then I'm going to go to Walla. But you're not going to see that. I've only got maybe about another 2 minutes of talking, and that will be it for the video. So sorry about the mix-up, but if you want to see what your frame rate is getting, I'll show you that before I switch over to the pre-recorded audio. So hopefully we're going to get in here soon. Position in queue is 5, so we're making our way there. I don't know what the current server sizes are now. Ooh, here's a new one. Crosshair. Security increase ahead of Invictus Week. Doesn't work because they steal a ship. Attacks from Frontier fighters remain a serious threat. Sure. Staying safe during the regen crisis with endpoints no longer reliable. A return to former safety protocols engaged. You know, just don't let yourself die. However, CIG has already said that that's never going to be an issue for us as players. They said it's some sort of genetic thing, and we are all predisposed to having good regens, which I kind of think it'd be better if maybe you didn't know, and if maybe sometimes death was a little bit more of an issue. But that would make the game too difficult for some people, so I don't see it happening. Guild Scavenger Hunt to celebrate the Guild's ongoing support of UE Navy. Those attending this year's Invictus can search the halls to discover some carefully stashed scripts prizes. Okay. Do they respawn, or is it like one and done? Hopefully they respawn every once in a while. Invictus Shopper Guide. From powerful fighting ships to latest in weapons, turrets, and flight blades. Our experts will help you pick out your gear with grabbing from the show floor. Flight blades. Interesting. So maybe that gets rid of the planned tuning. This is taking a while to load. Just imagine if this was actually on a hard drive. Now, the one thing I didn't do, and I should have done, and this is definitely going to affect the game when I first get in there, I did not delete my shader files, so that might affect some things. Because this is all new and it is the first time I'm loading into this, this is also affecting the load time. It should normally be a bit quicker. There's also a good chance everyone's trying to get in here at the same time now. So we're going to wait a bit. When this opens up, we're going to come back and we're going to quickly head over to Area 18. Oh, that was actually only another 10 seconds after I stopped recording there. So close global chat, get ourselves out, grab ourselves a mug. Yes. Now this is choppy, very choppy, so let's see what the frame rate currently is for us now. So what you need to do, hit tilde, hit R, underscore, I hit tab, and then I usually go up 1, display info 1, tilde again, and if we look up on the top corner here, server FPS is 25, actual frames 28.8, 29, 27, so we're getting about 30 frames on that, which isn't, you know, horrible. We're using DirectX 11, not Vulture, but yeah, 30 frames, not bad. I am going to turn that off again, so go 0, that turns it off, and it feels wonkier, but I mean, it's not running too bad at the moment. It'll get smoother in a moment. This is the first loading in, so it is loading in all the things around. Actually, you know what? I am going to keep that on just for now. So we're down to 23 frames, 22. So now we're at about 20 frames, which admittedly isn't great. I mean, if I'm moving slow, if I'm, you know, mining in a rock, you don't really notice it. But if I was, you know, trying to defend something at a bunker, you would definitely notice it. Now we'll see what it's like when we get outside, because it's already dropped down to 18 FPS here. So when we have the whole planet kind of outside and we're in this little area here. Oh, wow. I could count on my hand the number of times I come out of this side and not this side here. That threw me. Yeah, like, see, like I'm running around. It's playable, but it's low. It's telling me it's 12 FPS now. But hopefully this will improve, and definitely in the long run this game will improve. What's it called? What word am I looking for? The refinements, I know I've said it earlier today, getting the game to run better hasn't currently happened. They're not really working on getting the game to improve as far as smoothness, because they're always adding and changing things. This is what I like about the starts of patches too. People all over. Got a Optimus Prime helmet here. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Nice, like, winter coat. 20 FPS still on here. Alright, so I'm going to leave you guys to this. I'm going to head over to Area 18, and then I'm going to head into Paradise Cove, and I will see you the next time with actual gameplay footage. Me maybe checking out Invictus, that might be the next video I put out, or just kind of exploring and having a good time, maybe trying some salvage or mining again with the new patch. I know during Invictus you're going to be able to use the Drake Golem. I definitely want to check that out. I also heard that you maybe should be able to jump to your ships. I don't know if that is in this patch, but if so, that is going to be awesome as far as using the SRV and a salvage ship together. So definitely, if that is possible, I'm going to be doing that. But for now, here are some beautiful shots of me just exploring the verse while I talk a little bit more about what kind of frame rates I was getting in the game, which currently are not awesome. Let's take the cutter. So overall, because I have put up higher levels on some of the graphics so that I'm not going to be putting too much strain on the CPU, because I'm running at a lower resolution and running the game that way, I've actually had relatively good frame rates, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that the computer is able to grab things quickly with the amount of RAM I have, plus my video card having, weirdly enough for my model, 11 gigabytes of RAM. So in cities is the bad part. Cities and stations, I would say cities, if I'm lucky, I'm getting between 20 and 30 frames per second, but normally sometimes it actually has dropped down to 12 to 15. Not great in cities, and you will see that in a lot of my footage where sometimes moving around a city is not that great. If I'm in a place that's a bit smaller with fewer people around, like a bunker, it does go up closer to 30. However, that does affect, if you're going to be an FPS player, having a system like mine will affect you, and so hopefully with an updated graphics card I'll get better frame rates. You'll be able to see that. When I'm jumping, when the ship is jumping from one place to another, the frame rates go up crazy. 50, 60, no problem. I don't know why, but maybe it's just because it's really not rendering too much outside the ship except for the display you see, but that seems to work really well. In space, 30 to 40 FPS. Now definitely these are like averages for most of the time while things are running well. If things are running badly, everything tanks, and there's been a few times where even I've commented in my videos where it's like a slideshow where I'm getting like what feels like 5 FPS. But overall, at those settings with my system, things actually run pretty good. So I'd say, if your system will run it, if you're wondering if your system will run it, if you got an SSD and you got a decent amount of RAM, probably. Check it out. Try out the free fly. It's happening right now. Don't forget, when you make your account, if you haven't made one yet, to use referral code. However, they haven't really talked about the referral changes that are coming up. Really, there's been nothing said since my last video. It's just kind of gone silent. I'm expecting we'll hear something about it, 4 days before whatever changes they've decided upon roll out. But big that what you will, but it's always good regardless to use referral code before you make your account. There is a link below, but if you have a friend, use their account. Maybe you can help them out before the changes to ladder. Or if you hold off until after the changes, maybe they'll have help. That will help them as well. I cannot speak. But that's it. This is kind of a very quick video. Not really exciting, I understand, but during the free fly, that's your best time to check it out, see if you'd like the game, and see if it'll run well on your computer. Don't forget, you're also going to need, I don't know what it is currently, but I think about 60 gigs to download the game. It might be more by now. Just like any other game, it's going to need a lot of space for the new game. But hopefully this helps you. Not, like I said, super exciting, but again, with my new setup, when it comes, I'll kind of do a comparison and see how things go. So until next time, I'll hope to see you all soon at Invictus. Goodbye, everybody.